There's 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras. Which one do I look at? Is there anywhere we're not broadcasting? Are we in Kazakhstan? Are we in the Middle East? We got coverage?
We got coverage.
All right. My name is Steven. You're watching 10 Questions. That would be amazing. Hi, I'm Steven, and you're watching 10 Questions on eBay. It's amazing. Hi, this is Steven Mann from Mann Casting, and you're watching 10 Questions on eBOSS.
What was your journey to becoming a casting director?
Oh boy, okay. Not a lot of kids grow up and they say they want to be a casting director. It wasn't something that I obviously had planned to do. I grew up in the industry. My mother is a casting director and has been a casting director for close to 40 years. My father's a broadcaster. He's with NFL Films and he's done a lot of voice work. And so I was always sort of in that environment. And I just kind of, to be honest, I kind of fell ass backwards into it. I was a terrible actor. I had headshots that were really bad. And I tried the acting thing. I also did a lot of writing and comedy writing and stuff like that. And for me personally, I just got to a point in my career where I love the industry and I was looking for sort of maybe a different fit. And I really kind of rebelled against it. It wasn't something that I wanted to do because becoming a casting director meant letting go a lot of my other dreams, which were to write comedy. To write comedy and to do radio, which is where I started. But then at 35 years old, I was kind of sick of being poor, and a lot of actors, I mean, it's a really tough, business. I mean, I've always said, not always, I say now that acting is sort of more like a hobby than it is a profession. Because a profession means you're earning a living doing it and sustaining yourself. And there's not a lot of people in Toronto that I know. There are a few for sure, but it's not a profession. So I was really getting frustrated with making ends meet, from a creative perspective. So when I started doing the casting thing, I was starting to get, a regular paycheck. And then, you want to have a family, you want to have children. And it's like, if you don't have a steady income, you have no chance of making that happen. So for me, I had to let go of what I really had a passion for at the time because I was sick of living that way. Right. So I embraced it and I love it. I mean, it was just like a weird kind of transition. It was not something I really wanted to do, but 10 years later, here I am.
Well, it's amazing. You have your studio, you have your sign right behind you with your name on it.
Right, too.
So I guess the question a lot of new actors or up-and-coming actors ask is, do you need a demo reel, and how important is it?
Interesting. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a demo reel. There are situations, I do predominantly TV commercials, and there are times where actors or producers or directors are asking us for, can we see a demo reel? Mm-hmm. And it's actually amazing how many people don't have one. So I know that the service that I use, which is called Breakdown Services, where I post my breakdowns, you can upload your demo reel. You can do something which is called a slate shot. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. I can explain it to you in a little bit. But yeah, I think it's an important thing to have. But you don't want to have a demo reel, with material that you're not proud of just because you don't have a demo reel. It should be something that you're proud of. It should be something that has some diversity in it, and obviously accentuates your strengths, right? So yeah, I think it's important.
But obviously there are two different kinds of demo reels. One is for the agent, when you're looking for an agent and you're trying just to showcase your best parts. So maybe it could be something that you recorded with your friends and it just shows your range. And then you have an actual industry standard demo reel for the casting directors. Do you think that's right?
I don't think so.
No?
I think a demo reel is a demo reel. I don't think that there's anything that should be specifically catered to an agent. I think whatever work you put forth that is a representation of yourself, you need to be proud of and you need to feel good about, whoever you're showing it to. I wouldn't make a demo reel of just stuff you casually shot with your friends.
Right.
You know, it's got to be like, hey, look, we pranked somebody. He's in the washroom.
Well,
Let's
obviously.
open the door. And, you know, it's got to be. It has to be something that's tangible. And you know, a lot of times people will take clips of their TV commercials and their shows that they've been a part of. Well, how are you supposed to do that if you're not in commercials or you don't have a show? So it's the whole kind of how do you get experience of that experience. But you know, it's tough. But yeah, I mean, I think one demo reel that showcases yourself is probably the best idea. And again, you're branding yourself. So if you're a comedic performer, like you don't need this heavy drama stuff. If your bread and butter is comedy, or if you're not comedic, then you don't want a comedic demo. But I'll be really contradictory, but range is good. Range.
Right. Right. Okay. So, what is the biggest mistake do you think performers do when auditioning? We can start from a submission.
Well, there's a lot of mistakes that actors can make. I mean, the obvious one, first and foremost, is not being prepared and not coming in for the audition prepared. Oh, you shut off the Drake.
Sorry, I'm getting feedback from.
Right, and it's Drake. It's okay. He'll be fine. There are things, you know, when it comes to auditioning, unfortunately, a lot of times you're going to be remembered for what you did wrong and not what you did right. And that's the tough part. A big mistake is obviously not being prepared. You know, there are responsibilities as actors that you guys have that will help yourself. So if you're with an agent, remember that agent, and Toronto's got amazing agents and talent, that agent has a lot of people that they're representing. So if you get a call from your agent at 6 o'clock and in the evening, and you have an audition tomorrow morning, you know, they are calling out all their auditions and they're busy, like they may forget something and they're human beings. So you need to know to ask, is there a script? Is there a storyboard? What's the wardrobe? You need to have as much information as you can in order to give yourself a shot. And they don't withhold that maliciously. They're just human beings. Everybody makes mistakes, but you need to know there are certain things. So if you're going in for something that's, whenever we call out our auditions, we always have a dress code. Like I write for my girls, like this is what we want them to wear. So if it's blue collar, we want you to look blue collar. If it's business, we want you to look business. If it's upscale casual, we want you to be upscale casual. So knowing what the spot is about, knowing what the wardrobe is, and obviously knowing your time and your location, because there are people that show up here all the time that are not supposed to be here. And like, oh shit. And then they dash off to another casting house. So you need to know where you're supposed to be. That is, I guess, the most important thing for an audition is showing up first and foremost.
In the right place.
In the right location. And then if there's a script, you need to know that script. And I'll be honest with you, I would rather, this is maybe a strange perspective, but if you don't get in for a lot of casting directors, if you get that script late and you know you're not gonna do a good job, I almost would rather you not show up, especially if it's the first time I'm going to see you. I'd rather not be left with a bad impression. I'd rather think like, oh shit, they didn't show up, than, oh shit, they're not really good. That's just me. I think I have a different perspective.
But would you notice, so let's just say you have a list of actors who are supposed to come in on the day for the audition, and some of them don't show up. Do you go over the list at the end?
Absolutely. We know, honest to God, like, it's crazy. We know everybody who doesn't show up, because when I put my jobs together, I always have my girls, we always circle the people that can't make it. And sometimes there's reasons for it and we know about it, and sometimes they just don't show. But what I do is, if the agency and the director look at the casting and they say, you know what, great job, we'd like a few more moms, we'd like a few more kids. I go to that list, I see who's circled, and I bring those people into the callback. Like, I don't get mad. Like, if you don't show up, I get it. Like, we're human beings, we have lives, we have children, we have issues, we've got car troubles, we've got whatever. Like, it's just an audition. Like, we want you to be there. If you can't make it, it's okay, but it can't be something where you're that guy or that girl that never shows up. Because one thing I'll be honest is that even in this room here with all you guys, every single person in here is replaceable. We're talking about a volume industry. We're talking about everybody's an actor now. So you don't want to, like I said, everybody's replaceable. You want to leave a good impression and just do the best job you can. Because if you leave a bad taste in somebody's mouth or you don't show up and that's consistent, God, unfortunately it's really easy to replace you guys. And that's the truth.
That's true, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And since we're on audition topic, I would like to transition to the wardrobe.
Yeah, the wardrobe.
Is it necessary, and how important is it to get as close as you can to whatever is in the description for a character? Obviously, you're not going to go all bonkers 16th century.
I've seen bonkers. We had bonkers this week. We had a guy, the character was called Balloon Man, and the guy came in with like 1,000 balloons or something.
Really?
Like he literally was suspended in the air while he was auditioning. They were filled with helium. We had to hold on to his feet.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so look, first of all, never spend money on wardrobe, okay? It's easy to do. Like if it's business casual, if you're going in for an office worker, wear a pair of dress pants and a button shirt. Like it's pretty straightforward. We're not expecting, if it's blue collar, wear a pair of jeans and a plaid shirt. If it's summer, wear a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. Like just stay within the box, okay? If there's something specialized, like if you're coming in for a scientist, we will provide you with a lab coat. We're right across the road from a costume house. Trust me, we want you to look the part, okay? We want to get the job done and get it cast. So anything that we can do to help you. And over the years, we've collected so many props. We've got hard hats. We've got everything, okay? So just try to look the part and don't go overboard. Don't be that person where if you saw that person in an audition, you'd be like, what the fuck? And there are people that come in and it's so over the top. It doesn't have to be because it's too far. You want to give these people, the creatives, the director, the agency cats, an opportunity to try and visualize that role. Give them the opportunity to do so without making it so over the top. And never spend money. And if you are going to start accumulating little wardrobe items, you can go to what's it? Variety Village? Value Village. Variety Village. Variety Village. Yeah, don't go there for clothes.
Okay, so
Cut. Okay.
in terms of auditions, obviously casting directors want to get the actors cast, and that's their primary.
Yeah,
that's why they're
sure.
there, right?
Sure.
So everybody's friends in the room, and it is in your best interest to have the actor to do a good job.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the key for an actor to get casted? Do you look for anything in particular?
Oh my God.
Obviously it depends on the part, but what do you look for?
You know what? Unfortunately, it's not my decision. I have relationships with a lot of directors that I've worked with for many years that I respect, that they trust me and they'll ask me my opinion. There are people that'll say, what do you know about this guy? Or what do you know about her? And I'll be really honest. That person's got Second City background. They're really funny. They work. They're terrific. My job is to get the job cast, but who gets cast and why is a science. Because, listen, the truth is that if we're casting a spot, which is SOC, which means silent on camera, there's no dialogue. It's just a couple of friends at a party talking, but there's no volume. But in the audition, you're just a couple of friends, you're gathered around and you're just talking and looking like you're having fun. Who can be honest and authentic with that? And how do you select, when we bring in 100 people, who gets picked and why? It's easier to eliminate people than it is to pick people. Everybody gravitates to different faces. Like I work with certain guys and I know what they like. I personally like character. I like character faces, I like interesting faces, but a lot of times we're told we want aspirational types. Like we follow the specs, but we also work with the relationships we have. So I kind of know with certain directors what they like and what they gravitate to. But when it's all said and done and the selects are on the table, it's a whole different process. Like it's a difficult process, right? Because there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. There's a lot of people that have an opinion, and they're entitled to that opinion. So somebody may love this person, and then somebody might like that person, and then we have to figure out who's going to be the first choice and who's going to be the backup. And I let them hammer that out themselves. And I stay in the room, and if they have any questions, then I give my input. And I'm fair, and I'm honest, right? Yeah.
Right. So, how do you feel about actors who submit themselves without their agents on their resume or just without their agents knowing that they have been submitted?
I think that could be a big problem. I started out with the social media stuff years ago. In fact, I posted a job on MySpace. Like, really? Like, way back in the day. Like, how did I find time to post a job when I was so busy learning HTML coding to put up a Wu-Tang video on my page? I found time to put a breakdown out. But listen, it's a great resource, there's no doubt. And because there's so many people, and I really like to find new people. And, you know, the thing is that if you're going to submit yourself and you have an agent, you should always include your agent's information, because you may not be aware that you could potentially be in conflict with something. And it's up to us to call the agent and say, and when Caitlin is just sitting off camera, what do I write? When I type something on my casting list, begins with R.
I'm not listening. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
We just got WWF bookings, some of them.
You're fired.
What?
No, I always write request, and we call the agent, right? I always
request, yeah.
Young request.
I'm so sorry. I'm working.
But so it's unfair. It's unfair for you to submit yourself if you have an agent. You don't include your agent's info. You have to do that. You have to. And you can say, please reach out to my agent, because again, casting is so subjective. The way I see something and the way that an agent may see something from the spec is completely different. The spec can say aspirational, and I'm bringing in characters. You know, it's casting. It's really, I always say, I bring in the best performers, period. I look at the specs, but I bring in the best actors, because that's what's going to get the job done. So yes, include your agent info if you're submitting yourself, and allow us the opportunity to reach out to your agent, because they're working for you and they may not think you're right. And maybe I do. There's a lot of times, jobs get booked, and a lot of people get booked on my jobs that weren't even submitted. And I'm not mad. I feel good about that, actually, because I kind of get what this director is looking for. And I'll request it, because that individual that wound up booking the spot really didn't match the spec. But that's okay. I kind of always look outside the box, right? So yes, include your agent info. And if you don't have an agent, or you are submitting on your own, please send a decent picture, a recent picture, an accurate picture.
So headshots.
Yes. And if you don't have headshots and you're just starting out, that's okay. But like some of the pictures I get,
how many do you get per one audition? Okay, I know it's a tough question, but how many?
Okay, if I'm casting a non-union job, and Caitlin has my email pass information, because I can't even handle my email anymore. And I know a lot of the people that are submitting themselves. And I'm sorry if you haven't gotten in. It is impossible for me to please everybody. It ain't personal. It's like we all see things different. Let me just address the other. So some of the pictures I get are horrifying. I've seen shit that you save. You save it. You don't even delete it. You're like, I need this picture, because there aren't like animated GIFs on the Facebook chat that are as good as this. Because it's the girl in the shower and the shower curtain, and you can see the head and shoulders bottle. I see selfies that are blurry. I've seen stuff that is so inappropriate. I've seen, and then I get pictures, and then I like the picture, and the person shows up, duped. Don't even look like them. You're not even a brunette. You're not even a brunette. You're blonde. So it's got to be accurate. And we could talk about headshots, but I'll be honest with you. Some of the things I do is that when some people that I think are interesting looking, or that I think might be right, I look at their Facebook pictures. Because I feel that with headshots, sometimes they are misleading because nobody's that perfect and not everybody has access to an exposed brick wall and sits like that. And when I can actually see a picture of you like as yourself, just smiling, just being yourself, I get a better vibe for somebody. And sometimes when clients say, do you have any additional pictures of this person? And the only pictures we have are the 2 uploaded ones on Breakdown Services of the headshots. And I'll go and I will rip pictures off people's Facebook and present them to client.
So you
Don't
take
be
that
mad,
extra
you're getting
time.
booked.
So
Sorry?
you take that extra time to go and find it.
I have to. I want the job done. I want the clients to be happy. It's so difficult to please everybody, even for me, right? So, you know, I know there are people that are probably watching this and they're just like, I've submitted to you so many times. And I've never been in, and I'm sorry. There's only so much I can do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, be persistent, maybe change up the picture. If you've met me, yes.
I think one of the key questions is that talent don't realize the amount of
It's crazy.
submissions you receive.
Right.
Let's say, you know, it's a family or it's people in their 20s to 30s and they're looking for, you know, 6 or 7 characters.
Right.
Out of 200 agents, if
Well, there's not 200 agents. There's less there used to be back in the day. There's way less now, but the amount of people, and all the major casting directors have social media. You know, Jigsaw, Powerhouse. We all have social media and casting pages where we post our casting notices because we're all looking for the same thing, new faces and stuff. But the volume it can be overwhelming. Now, I can say, although maybe not to anybody in the room right now, that there's been a lot of people that have submitted to me individually on Facebook that have booked jobs. And if you're out there, please type something in saying, he's right, I booked that one, he's nice.
He's not lying.
Because there are a lot of people. And when we see somebody that does well, and by doing well, it's one component is auditioning well, but it's how do the clients respond to you? So you may not even book the job, but like at the end, when all the headshots are on this table here and you're in contention, somebody liked you. And that's really what we're looking for. So there are people that I personally don't like as an individual, but they're good actors. I'm still bringing them in because my goal is to make the people behind this table happy. It's not personal. So if you're submitting to me and you're not getting a time, what?
So I'm reading comments, they're funny.
But shut up. But here's the other thing, and this is going to complicate things even further. Some people don't have a commercial look. And what I mean by that is that if you watch TV commercials, I work in TV commercials, I watch TV commercials. Look at the people in the commercials. They're regular people. It's not the prettiest girl in school. It's not the jock per se. It's the people that work are the ones which I call they're memorably forgettable. Rob Fulton.
no, you didn't.
He's my buddy. He knows the time. I always tell him that. There are guys like that you know, that they work because they're good, but they just kind of blend in. You'll walk by them on the street. Is that wrong? I don't mean that as a diss. It's
Did he say something? Is he like typing a message?
if Rob was watching, but he gets it. Like people have heard me say that. It's because, you know, you need to be consumer identifiable.
Right.
Okay? So that's really important. When you watch commercials, everybody's pretty plain. You know, it depends on the campaign. Obviously, if it's a beer spot, they're really good looking and fit. But, you know, the Canadian Tires, the banking spots, all the major advertisers, right? Look at the people. It's like regular people. So when you come in, you kind of want to be a regular person. Sometimes women come in and they're so dolled up and there's so much makeup. That's not consumer identifiable. Okay? Do you know what I'm saying? Like watch commercials.
Yeah.
Like we do way more in this room during the audition process than actually comes out in the commercial. Because this is the first time we're actually fleshing out the creative. right? Because remember, when you come into an audition, and all these guys that have worked their asses off creating these great spots, they've never seen, other than perhaps an animatic or a storyboard, they've never seen it come to life. Sometimes it doesn't work, but we've got to make it work, right?
Right. So, agents.
Yes.
There are a lot of them in this town, over 60 agencies.
There's probably more, but I don't
Around, like over. And many of them have one and over agents. So what do you think is the best way to approach it? Do you think it's cool and good to be with a top agency, or doesn't matter, like do you need to have that friendship with your agent, or you just need to be with someone who books people?
Oh, okay, let's break that one down slowly. Okay, so I'll say that there's so many amazing agents in Toronto. There really are. And there are also great actors with maybe what would be deemed lower tier agencies. And there are terrible actors that I think that I would like what would be deemed the top agencies. You know, finding an agent it's a relationship, okay? They need to see something in you. Like it's not a friendship, it's a relationship. It can develop into a friendship, but it's a relationship. So if you go and you meet an agent and maybe they ask you to do a monologue, you know, you want them to see something in you. I mean, they're investing time and energy into you. You need to make money. They need to make money. Like really, if you strip down all the bullshit and all the feelings, it's a business. So I would meet as many agents as you can. Send out proper headshots. Write an interesting email. Everybody's always looking for an agent. Don't feel bad if you get bumped to the back of the line or it takes some time. And if somebody doesn't get back to you, the truth is maybe they don't like the picture, maybe they don't feel it's the right fit, maybe they have lots of people on the roster that are similar to you, and maybe they simply don't want to respond. Some will. That's like humanity, right? People are strange. Somebody will write you back and say, hey, thank you so much for your interest. Unfortunately, right now we're not expanding our roster. Cool, move on, next one. But stay with it. You know, stay with it. Find the right fit, meet people. And, I mean, yeah, just keep going. What was the other part of the question? So there was that part.
Yeah, being with a top agency and whether it's better than being with a friend's agent.
Then a what?
Friend. Someone who is working with you to get you that job. Someone who is...
You just want to work. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you're, whatever agency you're with, if you're getting in for auditions and that agent has a good relationship with the casting director, I have different relationships with agents. There are certain people that really have my back because we do a lot of PSAs and we ask for a lot of favors from agents. And there are certain people like Carly Baxter, hi Carly, like that help us. So if she calls me and she's like, you haven't seen this guy, he's new, I want you to give him a shot. I'm gonna. It's relationships, right? You know, a lot of people say it's who you know in this business. It is who you know and the relationships you keep. There are certain agents that don't help me, that are difficult. No names. And I'm less inclined. But that's just, I'm a person, right? If you show me respect and you treat me with respect, and I think those that know me, I'm pretty chill. I mean, I'm stressed out all the time, but I'm chill. And, you know, if you've got an issue, or, you know, you scratch my back, I'm going to scratch yours. Carly Baxter. Yeah.
So, what do you think this whole industry can do differently in order to grow?
Oh God, I didn't want that question.
I know, I was
don't want
like
that question.
slowly feeding it in you.
I don't want that question. That's I don't know. Honestly, look, if you read the papers today, I think they said that, you know, there was a bunch of reports about the film and TV industry in Toronto, how it's like the third biggest revenue maker. I mean, the industry doesn't need to grow. It's growing. What we need to do is help you guys, right? And educate you guys that are trying to get in. And I think and this is really important, I think, and I've said this, like I've done some seminars before and spoken to other actors, and this is something I want you to all be really aware of, is that production industry, it's a great business. There's no doubt. I've been in it my whole life. And there's branches on this tree. One of the branches is being an actor, but there's so many other branches. Don't close yourself off to those branches. You know, like one of the branches is casting. I never thought I would become a casting director. It was probably the last thing I wanted to do. Straight up. But I love it, and I took that branch. There are other things. There's stylists, there's location managers, there's producers, there's technical people. There are so many other things that will help you generate a living and make a career other than just being an actor. So be aware. Treat everybody that you meet in this business with respect and stay humble. Because you know what? You could be on set and that PA who you think is a bit of a D-bag could be the DOP in 2 years. And he will not forget the way he was treated by you. And that's how we have to be in this business. This industry is a community. We all kind of know each other. Even though I don't know everybody in this room, we've all heard of each other. We all kind of know each other. We go to the same events. We are on the same Facebook pages. Like, we all kind of know each other. It's a community. So be cool and be humble and be kind to everybody that you meet. Because if you're nice to somebody, they'll be more inclined to give you a hand and to help you. Right? Nobody wants to help somebody that they don't like.
Right. So I have one last question.
Yeah.
And it's about your mentors.
My mentors.
Who are they? Who are the people who keep inspiring you, keep you going,
Okay,
keep
so
you pushing?
we're not talking about rappers, right? We're talking about the industry. Okay. I would say my two biggest mentors, without question, are my parents. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my parents, in so many ways, obviously. But, you know, growing up in a house where humor was not only tolerated, but it was nurtured and it was encouraged. So, you know, growing up, you know, with your dad as a broadcaster and your mom as a casting director, I kind of knew I was going to be in this business. I mean, and if you looked at my report cards, you'd probably assume the same when I was growing up. You know, I mean, I did do well in law class. That's the only one I think I passed. But, you know, I have a tremendous respect for my parents, not just as parents, but as professionals in the business. Those who know my mom, she's a character, and she's had longevity, and she's been doing this for 40 years. You don't do something for 40 years if you're not doing something right. And my father, whose name is Earl Mann, is like, I say he's a spec, because what I mean by that is like when somebody's looking for a specific voice, they say, we want an Earl Mann type. So that's kind of cool, you know? So I'm very proud of my family and my parents and just the support and the love and the encouragement, because they also knew this wasn't really something that, you know, I wanted to do per se. And they also make me feel like they're really proud of me for the work that I've done and what I've accomplished. And, you know, if you can't please your parents, you know, I think that's for me, I've always wanted to make my parents proud. Good job. Yeah, so those are my mentors, is my mom and my dad.
So here, do you want to say something about your upcoming projects or your shows that you're doing?
Sure. Well, we've got one show coming up. We call it The Show, and it's basically we have actors that are competing against each other doing a monologue, and we've got industry-related guests, and all of our judges are either directors, casting directors, talent agents, and it's licensed, and it's a lot of fun, and we have them compete, and then in the second round we call it Flip the Script, where we give them a new monologue from somebody that previously did it on the roster. And sometimes it's really funny watching a guy do a girl's monologue, and we have them do a cold read. They have the script in front of them. It's a lot of laughs. It's a lot of fun. We do it at the Transact Club. My partner Brad Milne from Milne Studios does it with me. He's an awesome acting coach and a great guy, and it costs us a lot of money to put it on, but again, we love doing it because it's part of, we feel like we're giving something back. And and I get to meet a lot of actors at those shows over a drink, which is so much more chill than, like, the thing is, here's the other thing, like, your goal is you want to meet casting directors. I mean, that's kind of important. So you got to find the right place to meet them, right? So if I'm at the mall and I've got my kid and my kid is crying and you recognize me, like, people, not the best time. And if you're in my office and I'm working and the phone's ringing, it's probably not the best time. What? What's wrong? Okay. But like finding an opportunity, to, go out to a show or go out to an event, it gives a much more relaxed kind of vibe. Like if you come out to the show or I see you at like some industry event or a Second City show and I'm sitting there and I'm having a drink and I'm totally chill, like, this is human nature, I'm going to be way more receptive.
So Lightfoot has a question for you. Who does your hair?
Oh, okay. What a bagel.
What a bagel.
What is your opinion on merging the two into one reel? Like, should there be a separate reel for comedy and a separate reel for
Oh man, that's
drama?
really subjective. I don't know, to be honest. Like, I mean, it goes without saying that good work is good work. I mean, if you're going to incorporate both comedy and drama, there obviously has to be an aesthetic flow to the
A
thing.
transition. So,
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, if you had enough work to have a comedy reel and a drama reel, then, maybe you can cut 2 reels or 3 and have one for drama, one for comedy, one that kind of merges both of them.
I'm hearing that it's okay to submit to, but do we do that through breakdown services, job per job?
No, I post a lot of the non-union stuff on Facebook.
Yes, I see that. I'm actually union, so.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I don't post a ton of the union stuff because the actor pool is so deep and there's so many amazing performers. It's very rare that I need to look outside the union unless I'm looking for something where it's an actor job and I need a proficient skateboarder or some type of athletic ability or something that's a little bit different. So normally, most of the jobs that I'll post on Facebook are non-union. But for actor stuff, it's you probably would need representation to get access to those breakdowns. Yeah. So you're an actor. How long have you been an actor member?
40 years.
Only 40 years.
But I haven't been actively auditioning for a long time.
Right.
But I just landed 2 theater roles back to back,
Nice.
so I'm hoping that will, do you go to see the theater?
I have a 3-year-old, a 16-year-old.
Oh.
I have so much on my plate right now.
So what it will do is help me get to the agent, and then so the agent will get me in your door, is how that works.
I think so.
Okay.
Being an actor member, yeah, for sure. Because you won't see my breakdowns.
Right.
A lot of the people that are non-union see them because, we do quite a bit of non-union work and we want to always find new people. But if you're an actor member and you've been out of the game for a while and now you're back, I don't think it would be that, I think you'd be surprised if you reached out to people and you had updated headshots, and I think you'd probably find a home pretty quick.
Okay, thank
Yeah, you got it.
She says, speak about diversity casting. Is it growing?
Yes, it is growing a lot. We were just talking about this before we went live. It's crazy and it's wonderful. We are always mandated now, and that's the truth, to do diversity. And back in the day, even going back like 3 to 5 years ago, it was very difficult when we did casting, because when we would do interracial families or interracial couples, it would be kind of taboo, which is like not what it looks like in the food courts, right? In Toronto, and we're such a multicultural city, so now it's encouraged and it's welcomed, and it's also made prepping jobs a lot easier for us because we just put people together, right? Like it's a piece of cake. Like back in the day, if you had a black family, you had to match up the mom, the dad, the two children, and if somebody didn't show up and you had, a black mom, a black dad, a little black girl, and a white boy, it would look really funny, and it would make it difficult. Like we call that age, like, where's the kid? Where's the kid? But now it's like everyone's really chilled out. So diversity is definitely huge now, and it's encouraged, and we actually sometimes get, feedback from clients saying, we need more diversity. We want more. I'm like, well, we got no more. Like, that's it, Watch Omni 1, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of diversity.
Live theater.
Yeah.
Could you, there's a tape of live theater that I've done, but obviously it's not going to be.
It's probably not great, and the audio is probably not great because it's probably not mic'd properly directly into a board.
Right.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
No?
I wouldn't,
Not a
no.
good idea. What about if, I'm thinking I've got this, I did this background work, but I was actually quite front and center.
Are you doing anything? Is there any reactions? Is there any?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, then maybe.
And I rather like it.
Right.
I think I like it.
Mhm.
But I don't know if that should go on a demo reel because it is background. But
Well,
then
nobody
I've got-
would know it was background. If you're featured and we can clearly see you,
Yeah.
nobody knows it's background except you.
There's no words though. I don't speak.
That's okay. If it's high quality footage and it's something that shows that you worked, it doesn't hurt.
And how would you get that? Like it's on a TV show. How do I?
Oh, God. I don't know. I guess you'd have to call the production company and see if you can get an episode, or if it's a known show, I don't know, maybe you can download it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't download it.
And could you ever use cell phone?
No, I don't think so.
Never ready for a demo reel?
No, I don't know. I
Maybe
wouldn't.
for a self-tape, but.
Yeah, for self-tape, it's fine,
Yeah.
but no, not for a demo reel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, look, you want to be known. People want to know. Like, I remember a lot of people, and I know a lot of people. Unfortunately, there's just so many people. I mean, it's really gotten so crazy with, non-union work and everybody wanting to become an actor. It's like, I'll tell you something. Back in the day when I started working for my mom, we would be casting, let's say, just a mom for a Mr. Clean commercial, okay? And it was SOC, there was no dialogue. My mom would probably bring in 12 to 15 people back then. I bring in 50. Okay? That's how it's changed. Now, I bring in a lot more for two reasons. Number one, I know it's what's required. And I'd rather bring more so that my clients can't say, we're missing this. Like, I really want them to get a good selection. So it has changed a lot, and there's a lot of competition, and there's a lot of really good talent in Toronto. Like, it's a major market city, right? Like, even with the non-union stuff, like, although it's a little bit more of a challenge to do, there's some really, really talented non-union performers, that we bring in also for union jobs too. But it's getting in the door, and yeah.
So just so the talent have a perspective of the amount of competition out there, for that mom role, let's say,
Yeah.
how many submissions would you say approximately? If you're bringing in 50?
Oh, if I'm bringing in 50, I'll probably get like 350.
So 350.
Sometimes more, sometimes less. Like sometimes just like on an actor job where we don't even look for real people or people that are sort of outside of the agents. The spec will be really broad. It'll be like just a mix of business people that are 18 to 45, and sometimes just for the agents I have like 1,400 pictures to go through. So it can become really like, and it's funny because sometimes you spend your whole day looking at pictures and on conference calls, and then you put the job together, and then you come back to your office the next morning and you just see it different because you literally get punch drunk looking at all the pictures. And that's the other thing, talking about headshots and stuff, like, I'm going to give you a little dose of reality here, is that you're all individuals and you're all people. In my life, you're this.
Yeah.
You're a thumbnail. Like you're a thumbnail. And that's the truth. So make sure it's a good thumbnail, right? Because we don't, like back in the day when we would cast TV commercials, the agents would send us pictures and resumes, and we'd have to take us hours to open up all the envelopes, and we'd stack them in rolls. Everything is done online now. So like literally, when I say you're a thumbnail, I mean you're a thumbnail. You're like that, and that's how I see you. I can click on it and make it bigger, but if I know you, I don't need to.
Did you go to a school on Broadview?
No.
Okay. Could you share your thoughts on self-tape?
In what way?
I don't know. Okay, next.
Well, self-tapes, I mean, again, I would assume that it would have to be of good quality. When you do a self-tape and you send it into a casting director, obviously make sure that the room is lit properly. Like you want it to look good, right? Like sometimes when we get videos where we have to watch them like this, it's really a pain in the ass. And sometimes they're so big, we can't I don't know, it's just, I don't know. It's tough. I went to school on Danforth. On Broadview.
Okay.
But make sure it's good quality. Like we do lots of self-tapes. We take self-tapes. I have no problem with self-tapes, but again, they have to be good. The other thing, and this is for everybody on Facebook too, with regards to hand demo jobs. I had a demo in there because sometimes I don't add demo, it sounds terrible. Hand demo jobs. We're doing a lot of them now, both union and non-union. So what I tell people is, I would, when you have a moment, take some really nice pictures, especially for the ladies when you get, just a clean manicure or something, and for the guys when your hands are clean and they're not, we're not in the winter and you're dry skinned out and all that stuff, but take pictures of your hands front and back, take a picture of yourself holding a mug, take a picture of yourself holding a few objects, and keep them on your phone, and make sure your agent has them, because when clients call me, they're like, well, we're looking for a hand demo. Like back in the day, there was like only a few people that did hand demo work and they had hand demo cards, but everybody's got hands. So everybody can get in on it. And it happens really quick. So, have pictures of your hands and make sure if you do have an agent that they have them on standby. So that if they do see it, because what I do when I submit a hand demo job is I post the breakdown for the agents, but I say, please send, I give them the instructions, I want them sent directly to my email. Like because you can't submit them online because nobody has hand demo cards anymore. I mean, very few people do, some do, but it's, like back in the day, there was like 4 people who had hands that worked. Now it's like, it's different. So it's not a bad way. And sometimes these jobs, especially non-union, they can pay, $500, $1,000, and it's easy money, and it's money, So I would suggest get pictures of your hands, front and back, both of them holding a few objects. The iPhone is a great camera. You can make it work. Just make sure that they're cropped and they're labeled and you're good to go.
Are you interested in branching out into television or film casting in the future?
I do. I'm casting the show Mayday now, which I'm doing because the director is a friend of mine and he's incredibly talented and I think he's a super dude. I would, but it's not something that I'm like dying to do. I mean, I could do it. I do commercials. I enjoy it. And I also do a lot of other things on the side, that allow me to sort of, chase some other dreams that I have. But I would, if somebody wants me to cast something, okay. I've done some films. I've done everything. Like if a director, a friend of mine is doing a film and he's doing a TV pilot or whatever, I'll do them, but I would say my bread and butter are TV commercials, and I really understand the process, so I'm very comfortable with it.
Is there a good way to keep casting directors updated on new work you've done, or should you leave that to your agent?
Leave it to your agent.
Cool.
100%. And to be honest, okay, yeah, well, it's up there.
Okay.
Leave it to your agent.
This
So
one is
what were you
funny.
gonna say? What were you gonna say?
Nothing. Well, look, I mean, really, I'm glad that you're working, but like, I get so many, I'm gonna stop.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It's true.
I get so many postcards, and stuff. Actors are strange cats. I love them to death. But I don't really love getting thank you cards with self-promotion stuff on it. I think it's kind of a narcissistic, kind of way to say thank you, like, hey, thanks for bringing me for the audition with your play poster. You know, I just think it's like, if you want to genuinely thank me, like, forget the acting bullshit, we're people. It's like, if I help you out, then a genuine thank you would be very much appreciated. But like, I don't need a little plug, you know, to be tagged along with it. Do I need to know that you're opening up a fringe show? I don't. I mean, I hope you do really, really well. And you know, but like, I'm trying to get my kid potty trained right now, you know.
And more so, like, for actors to save their money, like, in this world of social media, like,
Yeah.
a simple Facebook message, like, hey, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Instead of spending
Posting a link
$100
of it.
on
Yeah.
postcards.
Totally.
I think more
That's a
of
great
that,
idea.
you know?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And, you know, there's like
Yeah.
other ways to say thank you in this day and age.
But, you know, yeah, for sure. I just don't like the I mean, I know as actors, you need to be a self-promoter, but there's, you know, there's always a way it's going to be perceived, right? So, again, like, if somebody sends something where it's just a blatant shout out to themselves, I don't really look at it. I don't.
When auditioning, shake hands or not.
No! No! You do the fist bump. No, you don't even do that. No, you don't shake hands with anybody. There's no need. I mean, really, your goal is to come in prepared and get the hell out of Dodge. You're not here to make friends. You're here to work. I mean, although it's not a profession, it has to be treated to a certain degree as such. You show up, you know your lines, you got your sides, you fill out your form, you know, you wait to be called, you come in, you do your thing, and you're out. You don't shake hands. It's first of all, everyone's a germaphobe now, including me, and nobody wants to shake hands, and no hugging or kissing, you know. Kissing is fine, but it's just inappropriate. You just don't need to do it, you know. You can say hello, hi, thank you, you know, and just make sure you listen. Because like my problem when I was an actor, that was terrible, is I would hear, I don't know if it was like I would hear but I wasn't listening, or I would listen and I wasn't hearing. It was one of those things. Like I remember I was in an audition when I was a kid, and it was with Stephanie Gorin, and I remember she gave me the instructions and is like, what? And I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to do because I was so nervous. So you got to be in the moment. You got to listen to what, and if a director says to you, if you're in an audition and you make it to a callback when the director is usually there, and you do a take, and he's like, you know what, try it like this. Like, make sure you do what he says. You know, one thing I hear a lot is that you'll be in a callback and you'll do the scene, and the director is like, can you just like bring it down, make it a little bit more subtle? And then they'll ask you to do another take, and then when we're reviewing, they'll say, see that person, you know, they were just a one-button hit. Like, they just did the same thing every take. So you got to listen to the director. You know, it's really important to be listening, because there's a lot of people that want that job. Casting, now that we have like these diverse families and interracial families, so I have a Caucasian parent, an Afro-Canadian parent. So I'm kind of looking for a specific skin tone for the kids, right? Like, we're really trying to match up as close as we can. When it's redheads, it's just like red. You know? It's a piece of cake. I wish I brought in nothing but redheads. It's a piece of cake. Sometimes we do these spots where they'll say, we're looking for this one girl and we're aging her like over 6 generations, right? Like when she's a little girl, and you're looking at the pictures, you're putting them up, and I'm just like, freckles, losing freckles, no freckles, married. Cut. Yeah. But, so yeah, Stephen, obviously, we bring in a lot of redheads, and you come in all the time, so shut up.
For a callback, should you wear the same clothes, same look?
Same look. I mean, a lot of people wear the same clothes. There's no right or wrong answer to this. You know, I mean, I don't think you have to. Sometimes we were like, oh, they wore the same thing. Like, as if you didn't even wash it, you've been wearing it for like 4 days before the callback, right? Like, you're literally homeless and you have one outfit. But I wouldn't deviate from that look, because obviously they liked it. But like, if you're wearing you could change it a little bit, but like, it's very subjective.
There are some casting directors that do say, wear the same thing. Like, because that's.
Okay, well, that's them, and they're entitled.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I don't think that if you are wearing a navy button down and now you're wearing a black button down, it's gonna cost you the job.
Right.
I just don't. But for consistency, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Sure.
But see, that's the important thing about having these type of sessions, because each casting director.
We see it differently, right? And we play by the same rules, but we all have a different approach.
Exactly.
I
Lisa
just
Burke would like to ask, Stephen, do you ever cast for goats?
Oh yeah, because she knows I have a goat thing too. Redheads and goats, I love them both.
Hi, Lisa.
I always send her pictures and videos of goats because I'm an idiot. So that's why she's asking if I cast goats. I don't cast goats, but I really wish I could. Okay.
Lee Tesler says, what's the average number of people that get called back for a callback? You say there could be over 100 people originally, but it seems like a lot of the same people come back for the recalls.
Not necessarily. You know what I'm gonna do? I need this thing because this is gonna die. I need my charger. We have a charger?
Yeah, go grab it.
Okay, so what I would say is the callbacks always vary. I'll be honest with you, on an actor job, when we get the callback list, the agency producer, there's a specific budget. On an actor job, a lot of times they have specific callbacks, and we'll you know, as we talk with the producer and the agency, they're like, I budgeted for 35 callbacks, because in an actor job, you get paid for a callback. So you get like $50, I believe it is, for a callback. For non-union, there's no budget. They can call back as many people as they wish. Now, to answer Lee's question, it really depends on the spot. Like, we have callbacks coming up for a non-union job, and there's a ton of callbacks, but there's also 6 vignettes, right? So some directors, they're so selective with their callback list. I work with some guys, and they'll look at it just like, this is an all back, they call it, the all back. And it's crazy because they have a specific vision, but again, there's a lot of people that have an opinion, and everybody sees it differently. And maybe one guy thinks that guy's really good, and the director picks 4 guys, and they pick, 14. It's like we have to appease everybody. We got to make everybody happy. Everybody's working hard, right? So I hope that answers a little bit of it. It depends on the spot.
How do you feel about people holding their size in an audition?
I'd rather you hold it and do a good job than not hold it and be terrible. But I mean, again, it's, there are certain jobs, like, I'll be honest, we got to shoot, right? So if I'm given a script for an audition and I'm looking at it, I will call the director or the producer and I'll say, guys, for casting, we got to cut this down. They're only going to have to work with it overnight. So let's cut it down. Or let them hold it. Like, we really want you to look good, right? Because if you look good, we get the job done. So, but if the script is unusually long, we'll write it up. But yeah, I have no problem with you holding it.
How do you feel about people sending in their applications from other provinces? So let's just say you have an audition for a particular thing, and
I can't.
you don't?
No, and I'll tell you what. A lot of times I'll post jobs, and I do self-tapes on the actor stuff. Like if we're doing a big wide net for comedic performers, I'll post it in Vancouver, and even sometimes for Canadians in Los Angeles and New York who can work as locals. But that's because the agency has budget to fly these people in, to put them up in a hotel. Like, a lot of the budgets are a lot smaller now on commercials. So it's fixed, it's limited. So if you submit from me and like you're from Vancouver or Nova Scotia, like there's no way by the time you fly yourself here and you go through all that, like you're gonna make no money. Like, what's the point? I won't waste their time.
Right.
There are people that even like will submit to me that are like Ottawa or Windsor or even like 3 hours away. I'm just like, don't do it. It's like, it's not even like, what's that?
I can't figure out how to
Go back.
This is the very beginning of it now.
Do you know how to make the Facebook thing work?
It's on the phone.
Do I post this?
You go in post here.
Do you see? Now it's just on this.
Okay, yeah, so you can post it now. Are you okay with it?
Yeah,
So we'll post it,
And then just
and
go
then we'll
back
start a new
online.
one. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, self-tapes, if we ask for them, it means that we have consent to bring them here and we can afford it.
Right.
But there's no point to submit just because you saw the breakdown, because there's no way you're gonna be able to come here, and fly yourself and find accommodations and food, and it's like you're making you know, $1,000.
Yeah, what I mean.
Do you ever have go-see days?
No, but I'm open to it.
Yeah?
Sure,
Okay.
totally. I mean, I have such little free time now. Like every minute of every day is sort of like accounted for. I mean, fortunately, actually, but it's hard for me to do these kind of things. And a lot of times when I do casting, because I think I'm really familiar with the talent pool in Toronto, and I don't watch the entire sessions like I used to when I first started, but I do watch people that I've never auditioned before. I do watch them, but I won't sit through the whole, because back in the day, I mean, we've been very blessed to be busy, really, really fortunate. But back in the day, I was the one that was in the room directing the talent. I simply don't have the time to do that anymore. One of the advantages of that was I was able to work with the talent direct and really get an idea of your ability. So I'm finding that, you know, you gotta have a fine line between knowing the talent, knowing their abilities, but also being able to continuously prep jobs, put out fires, because it's a volume business. We're doing a lot of work, and it's a great thing, don't get me wrong, but I just couldn't sit in a casting all day anymore. So if somebody's new, I'll watch them. But everybody else, I have a pretty good idea based on my own experience working with them, watching them, hearing what the clients have to say about them. You know what I mean? So, but I do pay more attention to people that are brand new, for sure. For me, in commercials, I don't necessarily need to do a go-see where everybody comes prepared with a monologue or something. I don't need that. Like, really, I'll get a better vibe from you if we could just kick back and just shoot the shit.
Yeah.
And I get to know who you are, and we just talk, and I just kind of get a sense of who you are. Because commercials, you know, it's acting, but it's also not acting. It's the people. This is very important, and this is actually very important. What I say when I say to people is, great actors in the commercial world are those who can do nothing well. Right? It's that subtlety. It's that small, natural reaction. So it's not, you know, you're coming in for an SOC audition and you're an actor. I want you to work, but there's nothing for you to do. Don't make something to do. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, if your just whole thing is just to kind of look up and look out the window and look kind of melancholy or whatever, like, just do it small and do it natural. Don't think like, oh shit, I'm on, I gotta do this. Because but people will do that, and it doesn't work. And the commercial doesn't look like that. It doesn't, and nothing looks like that.
Infomercials where they're like,
Infomercials, yes.
can you not open that jar? Oh
Yeah,
no!
no, that's a whole, yeah, I will not be casting infomercials, although it would be so much fun, but, you know, like when you come in, it's like, you gotta know how to do nothing well. You gotta just be able to sit, relax, and just listen to the direction that you're given, and just do it. And trust that the director is watching and paying attention, and he'll tell you what he wants to see different. But it's easy to bring you up, it's harder to bring you down. You know, go small, watch commercials, nothing's big. It's all small, subtle reaction.
Like, she's asking if you have a full-time job,
Yeah.
do you need to be able to make yourself available?
No, you have to pay your bills.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, if you have look, if you have a job, and that job is what pays your heat, hydro, rent, and sustains your livelihood and yourself, you don't compromise that. That's what's first. But will we work with you to accommodate you? Absolutely. You know, casting sessions go late now, okay? So I have friends that were in the game that are like, oh, I got a full-time job. I'm like, dude, we cast until like 7, 8 o'clock a lot of nights. Like, you can come after work, and you can request that we see you after work. And trust me, we will do everything we can to accommodate you. If we can do it, we will.
But I have to speak up on the defense of the agents. A lot of talent don't let their agents know their availability.
Yeah, it's a big
You
problem.
have to let your agents know, I'm not, even if you're going to a doctor or dentist appointment, you have to let your agent know you are not available. Your agent, your mother should be able to call your agent, and your agent will say, oh, she's at the dentist from 1 to 3, and then she has an audition at 4:30, and she should be home by 5. Or by 6 o'clock or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, if your agent doesn't know, when your agent is submitting to Stephen and any other casting director, your agent will put a note saying not available between 1 and 4.
Actually, I would like to add on that. My previous agent who I used to be with, every single week at the beginning, every Sunday, I would send out my weekly availability, and I would break it down. School from this time, school from this time to this time, work from this time to this time. Then on Thursday, I have a shoot with this person. This is non-paid gig. I'm doing it with my friends, so you don't have to worry about that. So I would literally break down my week, and every single week I would send it to my agent. And that way, if he sends me a casting call, I know I can do it. He knows I can make it. No one is stressed out. I don't have to call in work. I don't have to do anything. I just go. I just prepare and I go.
Yeah, you have to do that. And you know what's also important is that as soon as this is no longer fun, don't do it. This is supposed to be fun. Like I said at the beginning, there's not a lot of people that are making a living doing this, acting. So you've chosen to do this. This is something that you want to explore. You have to be doing it for the right reasons. You have to ask yourself, what are those reasons? Because you're not going to get rich, and you're not going to get to Hollywood, and you're not going to get signed, and you may not get a pilot. Some will, for sure, but the odds are that you won't. So if this isn't fun, and this is stressing you out, and you're going to auditions with the thought like, I need this gig, I'm broke, get out. Get out. Get out. What are you doing? This is not going to financially save you. This is going to provide joy and fun and an outlet and God willing money. Some extra cash for most people. But this can't be the end all and be all. You need to have a plan B. Everybody needs a plan B. Like, be realistic. Everybody needs to be realistic with where you are in your life. Because there's so many people that are hanging on that, you know, with all due respect, need to let go. You know, like let go and try something else in this field. You know, just, it's hard. It's a tough business. There's a lot of talent. There's not enough jobs. There's not enough money for actors. I get it. But if it's stressing you out, then you should not be doing it. It's like, if you're a kid, this is your gymnastics. It's your hockey. You know, that's what it should be. It should be fun. It should be something that you like to do, and it's exciting. And it's great networking. And it's great networking. You meet a lot of cool people, see a lot of cool shows, hang out with people. It's great. You make friends, you have allies, you have camaraderie. You're all, every face in this room is so different, yet you're all kind of chasing the same thing or interested in the exact same thing. That's pretty freaking cool. But be realistic.
What would you say are the top 5 special skills that are a must-have on every actor's resume?
Comedy, and commodity.
Comedy.
Yeah. I mean,
So on that note, what would you recommend here in Toronto other than Second City?
listen, I did Second City when I was younger. I did all the levels. I loved it. Second City, I think, will help you find your funny. Everybody's funny. You just don't know how. You know, everyone can make somebody laugh, and if you can make somebody laugh, right? Like, it's great. There's a lot of, there's so many comedy vehicles. Like, find one that fits you. I love Second City. I got a lot out of it. The people that I've met that have done it get a lot out of it. When I read resumes and I see Second City Improv, it means you're doing something. It's important. You know, it's like, at this point, do you need to train with a private teacher? If you should be so blessed to get an audition for a film or a long format TV, episodic or pilot, yes, work with a private coach. Get help with the script. These chances don't come along often. But on the regular, Second City, man, it's fun. I used to love just going, you know, and it's great because it helped teach me to not be so afraid in front of people. You know, you're in front of people and, you know, it's great. So I say Second City, but I also say look other places. I don't
Bad
know.
Dog Company.
Bad Dog Theater, you know, Comedy Bar. There's so many yuck yucks. There's all kinds of places that, you know, and you know, the other thing is today we can all create our own content, right? Like back in the day there was no YouTube. You can create content. You know, if you have a great idea for a web series or a blog or a vlog or, you know, you can do it. Like back then we couldn't do that. You know, so take advantage of the resources. You know, there are people that are monetized on YouTube that are like, it's crazy. You can do whatever you want.
There's a
But
lot of
people-
open mics.
There's tons of open
Yeah.
mics. And they're not even just at the comedy clubs. They're like, you can go to an open mic and also get a really good price on a thing of wings and a pitcher of beer too. Like, they're everywhere. But be proactive. Take a chance. Don't be afraid. You know, like, there's just so many vehicles out there for you that are outside of this agent, submission, casting, recall, hold, booked. There's way more outside that. That's my world, but there's so much more that you guys can do. You can create content.
When it comes to casting and having an agency, if you have somebody who has the same talent as somebody who has an agency, but they don't have one, what's the likelihood of them being casted against someone who does have an agent?
May the best performer win.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you get into the room, you know, I love the underdog, man. You know, if you're good and you outshine that cat who's like been in the business for a long time, great. It has nothing, listen, an agent helps for sure. It's really important, but when you're in the room, it's really, you own the space, right? It's between you and everybody else. It's yours. It's yours for the taking. Right? It's totally true. Nobody is going to beat you because they have a better agent than you. Nobody's going to beat you because they have more credits. When that door opens up and you're here, and the guy just before you may be a regular on Degrassi and a regular on this and that, you could destroy him in this room if you want. It's how prepared are you? How bad you want it, and what work have you put into it? And are you ready?
So with getting into the room though, if somebody submits to you with an agency and someone submits to you and they don't have an agency, are you more reluctant because they don't have an agency, or are they not part of it?
If it's a non-union job, I'm pretty much open to a lot more options. But yeah, you're right. If you submit yourself and then an agent submits on the same spec, and I know the performer, you know, that's one of the things I love about non-union work for me personally, is because it affords me the opportunity to bring in a lot of new people. So like, even when it comes to ACTRA, there are rules that we are not allowed to audition 2 people for the same role at the same time. So if I hire you as a young business associate or an up and coming, business guy, and I have to see you one at a time. So over the course of, a day or half a day, I can see 15 to 25. Where in non-union, even though the action's real quick, like you come in, you're looking a little bit lost, you're new on the job, whatever it is. Non-union, I can bring in 3 people. So it gives me the opportunity to see more people and try new people. But for union stuff, yeah, it would be tough. It would be. I mean, if I don't know you, but I'll tell you what, if you came in and you booked a non-union job, and I see that people are responding well to you, I'll throw you in for sure.
When you come in for an audition, you had mentioned that you don't really sit on the auditions anymore.
I don't know.
Who's actually sitting there? If you've got 5 people, who are they?
I've got the best people in the business. Honestly, one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shout out my people, because my staff is so incredible and they take such good care of me and they got my back. This is Caitlin. Caitlin Lane has been with me for a while. She used to work with me, then she went to Vancouver, and then she came back. She was an agent, now she's working with me. She runs the front of the house. Daryl is another young lady that runs the front of the house. Nicole also helps run the front of the house. These are the girls that help you sign in, sign out. They type the casting list. They make sure that the camera people and my session directors are ready and know what's going on. In the rooms, you'll probably see Dan Falk and Ashley, who are incredible. Dan is an incredible actor. He is amazing with talent. Ashley is phenomenal with talent. Like, I've got really good people. Like, I used to be such a control freak, okay? Like, when it's your business, there's something like, you don't trust a lot of people, because at the end, you're the only one that's held accountable for the mistake. So it was really hard for me to let go. I can let go now. Like, I'll come in and I'll have a call with, the director the night before. I'll read the treatment. I'll send the scripts and treatment to my session directors. I'll record the call. We'll listen to it together. Sometimes I'll just ask Ashley or Dan or Katie or Caitlin, who sometimes does camera. This is how I think we should do it. And then I trust them, and I haven't had a problem.
And what about directors and the people that have hired you to select? Are they?
They come on the callbacks. Like,
Just a callback.
Yeah, sometimes now we do attended sessions, right? Sometimes the turnaround is so quick, so you'll come to a casting session and in the room you'll have the director, the producer, the creative team, the agency producer. You'll have everybody here because there's no callbacks. We gotta pick talent that day and present the following morning. But most times, when you come in, the only person, if you're coming in as a solo, audition, the only person you'll probably see in here is Dan. Just Dan.
Just how many looks would you like to see online? How important is that? And then the other is about hair color, whether it's negative if your hair color differs from the one in your headshot, which you spoke on earlier.
I did. I think with that, a lot of times the agents will write a note, is blonde now. And that helps, okay? Because especially if we're making families or matching certain people up. So with regards to headshots,
About the different looks,
The
like
different looks.
casual, business, mom.
you know what, look, I've seen headshots that I think are like really good film and TV headshots that aren't great commercial shots. Like there's some shots that a couple of my guy friends I've seen that they're so intense. Like they're very strong shots and it's like, you're coming in as your dad at Swiss Chalet and you look like you're gonna murder somebody. And that's great for, the show that you're working on or whatever it might be, but it has to be, commercials are a lot lighter. It has to capture your essence, your personality. It needs to be casual, it needs to be accurate. It doesn't have to be perfect. And your headshots, one thing I've noticed now is there's a lot of really, really good headshot photographers. There's more now. Back in the day, there was like 2 or 3 staples, and that's really who did the bulk of the work. A lot of actors now have taken on doing headshots, and they do really good work. And the nice thing about them is they form a relationship with you. So when you go there, they have a hair and makeup person, and they get to know you. And they get to get a real vibe from you. So they'll put you in a shot or a position or a body posture or something or a wardrobe where they feel is a really good way to capture who you are. So it's changed a lot. There's a lot of, like back in the day, if you wanted to get a headshot, it was like 1 or 2 guys. Now it's like you can Google, you can look at their websites, you can look at their work, and you can make a choice, and you can also make it affordable, which is great. And as far as looks, I'd say 2 minimum. Minimum 2, But for your film and TV, it's funny, now that I'm casting the show Mayday, I'm doing a few episodes of Mayday, some of the headshots that I'm getting from the actors that are normally coming in for commercials, they're different headshots. Right, but they also have a different agent that represents them for film and TV than commercial. But it's interesting, because it's a lot more of an intense, film and TV shot, rather than a commercial shot.
How do you prepare for SOCs and on-camera auditions?
You don't. You don't. I mean, really, it's like, are you comfortable in your own skin? Is the first thing. Like, a lot of times, if it's silent on camera, we come in here and sometimes we'll say, tell me a little something about yourself. You slate, my name is yada, yada, yada. Tell me a little something about yourself. You'd be amazed how many people have a difficult time talking about themselves for 30 seconds. And it doesn't even have to make real sense. It doesn't have to have a story arc. It doesn't need a beginning, a middle, and an end. We just want to get a vibe from you. Because these guys are going through the casting really quick because there's so many roles and there's really not a lot for you to do in the spot. So do they like your look? Do they like your energy? Do they like your personality? So, you can't prepare for an SOC audition, but you can always know that 99% of the time they're going to be asking for subtlety and something small. And if you have the script or the storyboard, you understand what the spot is about, and then you think to yourself, if I saw this on TV, how would it look? Because a lot of stuff on TV looks the same. It's either emotional, it's kind of comedic sometimes, but nothing is so big where we're just like Super Bowl ads happen during the Super Bowl. The majority of the advertising is not Super Bowl advertising, right? It's regular stuff. So when you watch it, watch it and think about it. What are they doing? It's so simple. Don't complicate it for commercials. Don't overthink it and don't complicate it. Come in, be chill, be prepared, know what the spot's about, listen to what the directors are giving you. I know that with Ashley and Dan, they're incredible. They know what the spot is about. They're not going to steer you wrong. Don't take the baton from them and run in a different direction, because they don't want you to go in that direction, right? So it's not a question of being prepared. It's like being comfortable and being relaxed. Everybody's nervous. Everybody's got nerves. Y'all want to be in front of the camera. You put the camera on and you get scared. Like, it's like, be careful what you wish for. Because now you have it, but what you need to learn to do is find techniques or meds that that will kind of chill you out. That you got to learn to conquer your fear, you know, because your fear can be completely overwhelming. And we can see when you're nervous. And you're allowed to be nervous, but it's the ones that have a way of hiding it. And just being relaxed, listening. And don't let anything rattle you. Be confident. Be confident, but humble, right? No need to shake hands. No need to walk in cocky. There's a difference between cocky and confident.
Please talk about the vital first steps for new young actors trying to break in.
Oh man, call me. Call me tomorrow. Seriously, email me. And that's not something that I can sum up.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few of them.
Okay.
Brittany Smith, maybe we should just touch on this, like, it'll take 2 seconds. It says, do you like Slates on Casting Workbook? Do you think they make a difference?
Okay, this is really important. I use breakdown services, not casting workbook, but on breakdown services, there's something called a slate shot, okay? And it's so important. And it's helped me bring more people in, and also it's helped me stay away from people. What it is you upload these 2 pictures, your agent will upload these 2 pictures. A slate shot is basically, it's a still picture and you can click on it. It's just basically live motion of you introducing yourself. Hi, my name is Stephen Mann. Simple. And I actually can see what you look like. I see what you look like. It's not a picture. And sometimes you're like, the picture is so glossy and it looks so great, and you click the action, you're just like, what? No way! No way! And then sometimes you're just like, oh, cool, all right. So I think it's really important. And if you call breakdown services and ask them, the first one is free, I think, or the first 2 are free. Like, it doesn't cost you anything. And if a casting director, I use them. If you're not getting in for a casting director, they will probably click on it, because we go through so many pictures. If I by chance click on it and it's like, oh yeah, that person's got an interesting look, or that person would fit, sure.
So just a slate.
It's a slate shot. It's just like, hey, my name is Ray. Or your last name is
Rondo.
Rondo. Hi, my name is Ray Rondo. A little bit of a smile. That's
It's like
it.
a talking
Agent.
headshot.
It's a live motion headshot.
Yeah, so very, very quick.
Totally, that's all it is. And I've seen ones and I'm just like, wow, I didn't know that person looked like that. People that I've never actually brought in, because you have to understand that over the years, I've been duped a lot by headshots. Like, I've looked at millions of, probably hundreds of thousands of headshots in the last 20 years especially. So when you click on something and you see it's accurate or even pleasantly surprised, you know, because sometimes I'm a little gun shy, especially if I don't know you. And if I'm not, maybe I don't have the best relationship with that agent or agency, you know, it's easy for me to say no because there's 8 more thumbnails in the same row as you, right? So it helps. I would strongly recommend everybody do it. Mm-hmm.
So if you are new and don't have an agent, is it more beneficial to sign up for breakdown services?
No, it's more beneficial for you to look for breakdowns on Facebook and try to get in the door and try to network and try to find an agent that would meet you. Because what they'll say to you is like, you need headshots. I like you, I like your look, I think you got something special. They'll probably ask you to do a monologue or do some kind of performance piece for them. Do it, keep your fingers crossed, you know? But in the meantime, there are jobs on Facebook. I know that eBOSS posts, like eBOSS shares all my stuff and shares the majority of the other social media jobs. You know, but it goes without saying, you know, especially for women, just be careful. Like, know where you're going, right? Like, there's some crazy shit that happens. Not on your stuff, but, you know, just like, I trust eBOSS rather than, I wouldn't go on Craigslist or yeah, like that. You don't need that, right? Like, it's all there on Facebook, and there's accountability because you know 7 of the same people, right? So it's just a better process.
Yeah, and with eBOSS, you see the name of the casting director.
Yeah, exactly.
On the breakdown. So
it's just not some guy.
It's not hidden.
It's not a guy behind a tree with like a selfie. Yeah, I'm casting this film. I'd love for you to come out. Don't mind the tree.
But I just wanted to go back for a second to the scenes.
Yeah.
It's actually Andre who does dream scenes, and,
Yeah.
I'll post that up. But there's a lot of talent. I see a lot of talent, and I'm sure you do too, taking a lot of selfies,
Mhm.
etc. But they're not interacting with each other. You're hanging out, 5 or 6 actors hanging out all the time. You're new, you don't
Mhm.
have anything. Like, get together, do some scenes together.
Sure.
Like, just work within yourself.
I mean, Andre does a really good job. I don't know the price point. I mean, from what I remember,
It's free.
it's free.
Dream scenes are free
What
with
is-
Andre and I'll post it tomorrow. I'll post it.
It's free.
Yeah.
He'll direct it and do all that stuff for free.
They're going to do it for free.
Why?
Get at them tomorrow because they do a good job. They really do,
Yeah.
and they're able to get you like it's an instant demo. It's a scene.
Generous.
Now that my 7-year-old is union, I find that there's less work. Is it just my imagination?
Nope. Nope. There's less work only because there's a lot of non-union jobs, and you know we bring in non-union kids for union jobs. The difference between the thing about kids is that every kid is precocious, rambunctious, outgoing when he's around his mom and dad and his cousins at the family dinner table. Lots of personality. You put them in front of this environment, they close up. The ones that are comfortable, there's such a difference between the kids that get it and the kids that don't. Like, it's such a wide margin. So now that your child is union, your child is probably terrific and a very polished little performer and comfortable in front of people. But we're doing a lot of non-union jobs. So you're not having the same access to as many jobs as you might have once had. But your child is probably still going in for union jobs, which is great. Toronto's so talented. There's so many good performers and comedic performers. There's so many amazing people that have making no money really, and they're so good. I say a lot of times, a lot of my friends, their talent doesn't match their T4. They're so good. They're so dedicated. They're so professional. They're so broke. It sucks. It sucks, but they've got a great attitude and they're positive and they stick with it, and God willing they'll catch a break and somebody will open up a door and they'll make a friend, or however it plays out. It's just not like the way in the olden days where it's like, oh yeah, you get an agent, then you start booking commercials, and you start doing film and TV, you no longer want to do commercials, and then you wind up in LA. It's so different. The world is different. You have a better chance of creating your own content and making a name for yourself. You really do. Everyone, that 15 minutes is out there for a lot of people. What are you going to do with it if you get it? There's so many people that are getting those 15 minutes, right? Like back in the day, the 15 minutes of fame, if they'd known it was this popular, there would be no such a thing.
Well, just if you would be open to doing workshops for kids,
I don't think so. No.
but it says, or maybe your mom would.
My mom, I think, works a lot with
Yeah.
kids. Yeah. If you want to email me, I can connect you.
Another
Absolutely.
one of these.
Absolutely.
We'll do it bigger.
Sure.
And invite some new faces, but also some experienced faces so
Totally.
they can meet and interact.
Listen, I'm any environment where the lights are on but the cameras aren't.
So you and I will set it up.
Sure, no problem. No problem. All right.
Okay,
Right on.
I think that would be it.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.